The lights in the restaurant were not very bright. They made the chair across from Emma Rodriguez look nice. Emma Rodriguez checked her phone again. This was the time she did this in the last hour. The light from her phone made her face look sad. There were no messages on her phone. There were no calls. The only thing she saw was that Tyler was not going to show up. Emma Rodriguez felt bad because Tyler was not coming. It was Emma's 20th birthday and she was sitting by herself in Rousseau's. This is one of the romantic restaurants in New Orleans. She had on the emerald dress she bought for tonight. The waiter does not look at her with sympathy anymore. He stopped doing that 20 minutes. Now he just looks impatient. Emma does not think he is being unfair. She wishes she could just disappear into the wooden floor. Emma feels really bad about being alone on her birthday, in Rousseau's. Her phone finally made a noise. She felt happy, for a second before it went away when she read the message from Tyler. He said, "Something came up with the band. I will not be able to make it. We will have fun later." He did not say sorry. He did not even say that he knew he had kept her waiting for than an hour on her birthday. It was another time he brushed her off like it was no big deal. This was their relationship, a lot of letdowns that Emma kept going because she really wanted it to work and she was scared to start all over again with someone new. Emma felt like she was holding on to the relationship because she did not want to be alone. The birthday thing was another disappointment in a long line of disappointments for Emma. Emma was really sad about it. She asked for the bill, trying not to cry because she did not want to mess up the makeup she had worked on for an hour. When she was looking for her money, something blocked the light on the table. "Please forgive me for speaking out of turn," a deep voice said. It had a strong accent that sounded like it was from a long time ago. The voice was saying, "I just do not like seeing you so sad on a day that is supposed to be happy." Emma looked up. Saw the most amazing face. The man who was standing next to her table was really handsome. He looked like someone from an old painting. His face was sharp. His hair was dark and touched his collar. What really caught her attention were his eyes. Emma thought his eyes were a strange color, like a brown-yellow color. They seemed old and wise, like he had been around for a long time. It was weird because the man did not look that old. He looked like he was in his early 30s, like Emma's brother or something. The man's eyes were really something. They seemed to know a lot of things, like he had experienced a lot in his life. Emma was looking at the man's eyes. She could not look away. She was stuck on his amber eyes. Emma said, "I am fine," but her voice was shaking. She was just leaving now. He said, "Please," and he moved his hand to show me the chair. I should sit down. He wanted to talk to me because my friend was not there. He said it was like a birthday from him, to me. He knew what it was like to be lonely. Emma should have said no. Every time she thought about it, she knew she should have just walked away. This guy came out of nowhere. He seemed pretty strange. There was something in his eyes that made her stop. It was not that she was scared of him, even though he did seem a weird. It was more like he knew her or something. He looked at her like he understood her in a way that nobody else did. That was really weird because they had never even met before. Emma felt like this man knew her well, even though they had never talked or introduced themselves to each other. She looked at me. Said, "How did you know it was my birthday?" A small smile came onto his face. "I heard you talking about it to the waiter when you got here. I have been sitting by myself in the corner for the hour, and I have to admit that I saw how upset you were getting. My name is Nathaniel Blackwood." He held out his hand to her. Emma waited for a moment before she took it. His hand was really cool, which was weird because the restaurant was very warm. When Emma Rodriguez touched his hand, she felt a feeling on her skin. "Emma Rodriguez," she said. "It is nice to meet you, Emma Rodriguez." Nathaniel sat down in the chair. Looked very comfortable. "I wish we were meeting at a time. What kind of person leaves a woman like Emma Rodriguez alone on her birthday?" I do not think that is a nice thing to do to Emma Rodriguez. Emma could not help it, she felt a small laugh come out. A musician who thinks his band that plays in the garage is more important than showing up when the musician promises to. Then he is not a fool but a blind one. Nathaniel looked at her face, really looked at her, trying to figure her out with a stare that should have made her feel weird, but it did not. You are an artist, I think, because you have paint under your fingernails and the way you move your hands is like someone who makes things, who creates art, like an artist. Emma looked down at her hands. She was surprised. She had washed them well, but she could still see bits of cadmium red paint stuck to her nails. I am a painter. I paint. That is what I do. I am trying to make a living from painting. It is hard. So I also work as a waitress. I paint when I have money to buy the things I need to paint. I paint when I can afford supplies. Painting is what I really want to do. The eternal struggle of artists, throughout history. Nathaniel's face went away like he was thinking about something. I have met artists, like painters, over the years. What really gets to me is how they keep trying to make something even when they do not have a lot of money. Artists always do this, they keep making art even when it's hard. You have been around for a time. It sounds like the things you are saying are from a lot of years. You talk like you have lived lives, the experiences of many people are, in your words. The years have taught you a lot of things, it seems. He said, I think I have, you know. Then he signaled the waiter. Do you mind if I order for both of us? I really think you will like it. Emma knew she should go. She should go back to her small apartment. It is where she would feel comfortable, even if it is a comfort that comes from being disappointed. Instead, Emma found herself saying yes. There is something about Nathaniel Blackwood that pulls her in. Something about him makes Emma want to stay near him, even though everything about this situation is weird. Emma wants to be around Nathaniel Blackwood. The food that came next was really something for Emma. Nathaniel picked out food she did not know about. He talked to the waiter in French like he was from France. He told Emma stories about New Orleans. These stories felt like he had actually been there. He talked about the streets and the buildings like he had seen them a time ago. Nathaniel described everything in a way that made it feel like he remembered it himself. The meal that Emma had with Nathaniel was a special one. Nathaniel ordered food. He spoke French to the waiter. He spoke French easily. He told Emma about New Orleans. It felt like he knew it very well. Emma said this as they were eating a dessert together. The dessert was crème brûlée. Emma thought that the person she was with knew the city well. The city was a place that this person was familiar with. Emma made this observation as they shared the crème brûlée. Nathaniel put down his wine glass. He had not even taken a sip. Emma saw that he had hardly eaten anything. He was just pushing the food around on his plate. At the time he was telling her to try a little bit of everything. I have lived here for a long time, Nathaniel said. He meant that he had been around, for a time. Enough to see this place change from a small colonial settlement into the busy and crazy city it is today, Nathaniel said about the city. You talk as if you were around, for the thing, for all of the experience, for all of the history of the event, for all of it. What if I told you that I really was the person you think I am? I mean, what would you do if I said that I was actually telling the truth about myself? I am talking about being the deal, the actual person, not some fake or something. What if I told you that I was? Emma laughed in a way. I would say that you have an active imagination. Maybe you just do not believe what your heart is telling you. Nathaniel put his hand in his coat. Took out something small that was covered in black velvet. I have had this thing with me for 300 years, waiting for the time to give it back, to the person who really owns it, the rightful owner of this thing, the rightful owner. He carefully took the velvet off to show a locket. The locket was really pretty with gold around it and a tiny picture inside. Emma's breath caught in her throat. The lady in the picture was wearing clothes from a time ago, like over 200 years ago. Her dark hair was all curled up in a way. What really got Emma's attention was the lattice face. It looked like Emma's face. I mean, it was not just similar or like hers. The antique locket had a picture of a woman who looked like Emma. Emma whispered, "What is this?" Then she reached for the locket. Her fingers were trembling badly as she touched it. The locket was what she was looking at. "This is Catherine Rousseau, my wife. She died in my arms on March 15, 1724 because of a sickness called scarlet fever that went around New Orleans." Nathaniel's voice sounded very sad, like he was still hurting a lot. Catherine Rousseau was 26 years old when she died. She was the age as you are now. Catherine Rousseau was young, only 26 years old. Emma looked at the portrait. She just could not believe it. The portrait looked much like her. "This is impossible," she said. Emma stared at the portrait. She really could not deny how much the portrait looked like her. "This has to be some kind of trick," she said, looking at the portrait again. The portrait really looked like her. Nathaniel leaned forward. Said, "I wish it were that simple." His eyes, which were a brown color, sparkled in the light from the candles. He said, "I wish I could just forget what I know is true." Nathaniel had been searching for a very long time, 3 whole centuries, and he had been hoping to find something. Then 2 months ago he saw Catherine walking through Jackson Square. She had paint and things under her arm. He knew. He knew that Catherine had come back, to him, which seemed impossible. He was sure it was her, Catherine. Nathaniel was talking about Catherine. He said he knew that Catherine had returned to him. Emma pushed her chair back from the table. It made a loud noise, on the floor. Some people who were eating turned around to see what was happening. Emma said, "This is really crazy. You are a person. I have to get out of here." "Please," Nathaniel said. He stood up too. He moved in a way that seemed really strange. It was like he was not even human. "I know this is going to sound crazy," he said. "I know you have no reason to trust me. Just look at the locket. Get some people to check if it is real." The picture, inside the locket, was painted by Jean-Baptiste Lamour in 1723. You can take it to any museum. Show it to any expert. They will tell you how old it is. The locket is really old. Jean-Baptiste Lamour painted the portrait in the locket a time ago. Emma held the locket tightly. It felt really old and heavy in her hand. She thought to herself, even if this locket is actually real, and even if the woman in the picture looks like Emma, that does not mean Emma is this woman. Emma thought that lots of people can look similar to each other. "Not like this," Nathaniel said in a quiet voice. Catherine had a mark on her left shoulder blade. It was shaped like a crescent moon. "Do you have a mark like that on your shoulder blade too? I mean, does your mark look like a crescent moon, like Catherine's mark?" Emma's blood went cold. She really did have this birthmark. The birthmark was always a little strange to Emma because it was shaped like a crescent, not like the weird shapes that most birthmarks have. "How could you possibly know about my birthmark?" "I remember everything about the woman I loved. I was with her when she died, and I promised her that I would find her again. It does not matter how long it takes." Nathaniel did not move. He just stood there, even though his words were very strong. "I do not want you to believe me now, Emma. I just want you to think that maybe it is true. Keep the locket that the woman I loved wore. Look into it. Find out more about it. And when you are ready, come and find me. The woman I loved is very important to me. I live in the Blackwood estate on Burgundy Street. My house is the one with the iron gates and a really old magnolia tree. The tree is even older than the city." Emma backed toward the exit. She had the locket clutched in her fist. "This situation is really insane, with the locket." "Yes." A sad smile came across Nathaniel's face. "Sometimes the really crazy things are the only things that are really true." Nathaniel said this because he thought that insane truths, like these, are the ones worth believing in. She ran into the New Orleans night. The humid air felt like a warm hug after being in the cool restaurant. Her mind was over the place. She thought about things that could not be true. Vampires are not real. Coming back to life is a story. She could not stop staring at the locket, and she could not deny the woman who looked back at her with the same eyes as her own New Orleans eyes. The woman in the locket looked like her, and that was really strange. She looked at the locket again. The woman in it looked back at her with her own eyes. That night Emma did not sleep. She looked into Jean-Baptiste Lemoore. Discovered that he was a very good portrait miniaturist in New Orleans a long time ago. Emma found some information about the Rousseau family, who were merchants that died from fever in 1724. She also found something about Catherine Rousseau, the daughter of Jean-Marc Rousseau, who married a nobleman that not many people knew about. She died soon after that. Emma kept reading about Jean-Baptiste Lemoore and the Rousseau family. The nobleman's name was something that people had forgotten over time. When Emma looked at the locket under the light on her desk, she saw the little details on the face that looked just like her own face. She thought to herself that maybe the nobleman's name was actually Nathaniel Blackwood. Emma kept thinking about the nobleman and the locket. She could not help but wonder about Nathaniel Blackwood. Her phone buzzed. It was Tyler. He was finally responding to the text message she had sent him hours ago. Tyler said, "Do not be dramatic, we will talk tomorrow." Emma blocked his number. That was at the end of Emma and him. Whatever they had was now. Emma had wasted 2 years on someone who did not even bother to show up for her birthday. That really hurt Emma. But what hurt Emma more was that she had wasted 2 years of her life settling for a love that was just okay, when deep down inside of Emma, hidden under 28 years of a very normal life, Emma knew there was something amazing that she could have had. She did not know if she believed Nathaniel's story. She knew with sudden certainty that she needed to find out about Nathaniel's story. Because if there was a chance that souls could find each other across centuries, that love could transcend death itself, then everything she thought she knew about the world and love and souls and death was wrong. She had to know more about Nathaniel's story and what it meant for her. And Emma Rodriguez, practical artist and perpetual optimist, discovered she very much wanted to be wrong. Emma stood outside the Museum of Southern History holding the locket tightly. She had not slept well in the 3 days since the thing that happened with Nathaniel Blackwood. At night she had dreams that felt like things that really happened, not just things she made up. She dreamed about streets with lanterns and big dresses that made noise when she walked, and hands that did not look like hers putting flowers in nice vases. The person in charge of the museum, Dr. Patricia Whitmore, said she would look at the locket even though Emma asked her at the minute. Emma had mentioned Jean-Baptiste Lemoore's name, and the elderly woman was really interested. "This is extraordinary," Dr. Whitmore said, looking at the portrait with a magnifying glass. Her office had a smell like old paper and lemon polish. The walls were filled with things from New Orleans' old days. "The way the paint is applied is definitely Jean-Baptiste Lemoore's style," she said. "He was really good at painting skin tones. He would put thin layers on top of each other to make it look shiny. The gold parts are just like what people made in New Orleans a long time ago, back in the early 1700s, when the Creole people were making things." So Emma asked, her voice was really tight. "Is it real?" Dr. Whitmore said, "Oh, it is absolutely real. I think it is from 1720 to 1725 because of the style and the materials." Dr. Whitmore looked up at Emma. Her eyes were sharp behind her wire-rimmed glasses. "Where did you get this?" Dr. Whitmore asked. "Things like this should be in collections, not with people." Emma said, "It was a gift." She stopped for a moment. "It was from someone who said this woman was his wife." Dr. Whitmore looked confused. "His wife? Dear, this picture is really old, like 300 years old. Unless your friend looks really young for her age." "He says he is," Emma said. These words sounded crazy when she said them. He says he is a vampire who has been waiting for her to come back. The curator's face looked kind and understanding. You have met one of the people in our city, she said. New Orleans has a lot of people, like that, people who wear clothes and say they will live forever. I think it is usually okay. I would be careful about giving valuable old things to people I do not know who think strange things. Emma wanted to say she agreed, to think that what Nathaniel said was just made up by an old man. She could not ignore how sure he looked with his yellow-brown eyes, the way he knew about the mark on her skin, and how sad he really seemed when he talked about Catherine dying. May I ask you something? Emma took out her phone. Showed Dr. Whitmore a picture of herself. Do I look like Catherine? The woman in the portrait? Dr. Whitmore looked at both pictures carefully. She started to think about it. The woman in the portrait and the other woman look a lot alike. They have the face shape and similar hair color. Sometimes families have looks even after a long time, especially if they stay in one place for a long time. Are you from New Orleans originally? Connecticut. I do not know of any connection to Louisiana. Then it is a really big coincidence. Dr. Whitmore gave the locket back to the woman. If you want to know more about the Rousseau family, we have some information in our archives. The thing about Catherine Rousseau is that she died in the fever outbreak in 1724. She was one of the people to get sick. Catherine Rousseau was a strong person. She did not want to leave the city even when it was not safe. She stayed to take care of her family members who were sick. Emma's heart felt tight. This story about Catherine Rousseau sounds like something Emma would do herself. The way Catherine Rousseau took care of her family is really brave. Emma thinks that she would have done the thing if she were in Catherine Rousseau's place. She was always the one who stayed and helped people. She could not just walk away from people who needed her help even when it was hard for her. That afternoon Emma found herself walking down Burgundy Street. She was looking for iron gates and an old magnolia tree. Emma told herself that she was just curious about the place. She planned to return the locket and say no to anything that had to do with Nathaniel's ideas. Her hands were shaking as she got close to the house. Her heart was beating fast because it felt like she was coming home. That was a strange feeling. The Blackwood estate was really something to see. It had an iron fence with fancy designs. Behind the fence was a house with 3 stories. The house was built in the Creole style, which means it had porches and really tall windows. The windows were closed because of the sun. The magnolia tree in the courtyard was amazing. It was so old that it was probably there before the city was even built. The tree had a thick trunk. The Spanish moss hanging from the branches was as thick as Emma's waist. It made a green shady spot. Before Emma could even ring the doorbell, the gate to the Blackwood estate swung open. Nathaniel stood in the doorway wearing trousers and a white shirt just like he did at the restaurant. Emma thought about it and realized that Nathaniel looked exactly like he had for a very long time, probably the past 300 years. Nathaniel said to her in a voice, "You came to see me." He told Emma that he had hoped she would come. He was not sure if she really would. Emma said to Nathaniel, "I had the locket checked to see if it was real." Then she told him, "It is real." Nathaniel said to Emma, "I would not tell you a lie about something that's so important. To me the locket is real and I am telling you the truth." Emma walked through the gate. It clicked shut behind her. She was really aware of the sound it made. "That does not mean the rest of what you said is true," she said. "Maybe you found a picture and you became obsessed with it. Maybe this is all a scam." "You do not really believe that," Nathaniel said as he walked down the steps. He moved smoothly. "If you did you would not be here," he said. He was right. Emma had been trying to figure everything out for 3 days. She was trying to come up with explanations for what was happening. Emma had been thinking about the portrait and Nathaniel and the whole story, for a time. The French Quarter had a way of making her feel like she had been there before, even though she had only lived in New Orleans for 6 months. Certain streets felt familiar. She could not explain it. She also could not explain the dreams. The dreams about Catherine. The dreams about loving someone who was not like people. She felt a pull towards this stranger. He said he loved her in another life. She said, I have been having dreams. The dreams were about Catherine. The dreams were about loving someone who was not quite human. The dreams were about staying in a city that was sick, with plague because leaving felt like being afraid. Nathaniel's face. You could see hope and sadness fighting on his face. I am getting my memories back, he said. This happens to people with spirits, and the connections they make are not broken even when they die. Death is not something he was told. No, he said. That is why I have been sad for 300 years. Come in, Emma. Let me show you things that might help you remember. The inside of the Blackwood estate was, like a museum that had things from centuries. French colonial furniture was next to Victorian pieces. The walls had oil paintings from times. Emma looked around. She saw things that showed someone had lived a very long life. The room on the second floor really caught her attention. It was a room with a lot of portraits. Every painting in the room was of the woman, Catherine. There was Catherine in her wedding dress. There was Catherine reading a book by candlelight. There was also Catherine laughing in a garden. The room had dozens of pictures of Catherine. These pictures showed what her life was like. It looked like someone had kept these pictures because they did not want to forget Catherine. They wanted to remember her life even though it was cut short. Nathaniel said this softly. I went out and hired every artist I could find, he said. I really needed to remember what she looked like. After she passed away, I was scared that time would make me forget what her face looked like. I was scared that it would take away the memories I had of her. Emma walked around the gallery. Looked at each picture. The woman in the pictures wore clothes and had different hair, but her face always looked the same. She always looked happy. A little bit naughty at the same time. You could tell she was very smart from her eyes. She always had a smile on her face, like she knew something that she was not telling anyone. Emma said, she looks happy. She really was. Catherine liked everything. Catherine painted a lot just like you do. Catherine mostly painted flowers and plants. These paintings were very good for that time. Catherine would joke that she was painting things before they went away. Catherine did not know that she was the most beautiful person I had ever seen. Emma stopped in front of the picture of Catherine. This picture showed Catherine wearing a fancy emerald green dress. The dress was the color as the one Emma wore to the restaurant. You set this thing up. You saw me. Planned the entire meeting. I saw you 2 months ago in Jackson Square. You were painting the cathedral. Your hair was pulled back. You were totally into your work. My heart, which had not really beaten in 300 years, started to feel things again. Nathaniel moved to stand beside her. I spent weeks watching you, learning what you do every day, waiting for a chance to talk to you. I wanted to get to know you and the things you like to do. I have to say, I was really drawn to you when I saw you painting the cathedral in Jackson Square. When I saw you sitting by yourself in that restaurant wearing that dress that reminded me of Catherine's favorite dress, I felt like it was meant to be. I had to go over to you. That is stalking, you said. Yes, it is. I am not going to pretend like it's something else. Nathaniel turned around to face Emma fully. I am a vampire, Emma. I have done a lot of things over the years. I always tell you the truth. I watched you because I really needed to. I am a vampire, Emma, and I have done some things, but I will always be honest with you. I came to you because I had hope. I am telling you all this so you can make a decision about whether you want me in your life. Emma should have been mad. She should have felt like something was very wrong when he said he had been watching her for months. Instead, she felt a little better. At least he was telling the truth. At least he was not acting like everything was fine when it was not. Show me, she said all of a sudden. Show me what you really are, show me what you are. I do not want to see the eyes and the perfect face. I want to see the vampire. Nathaniel stopped for a moment. He said, "This might scare you. I am already scared. I need to know what is real." He slowly nodded his head. Then his body started to change. It was not like you see in the movies. His skin became very pale. It looked like marble. The vampire's eyes turned completely black, the black part got bigger. Covered up the nice amber color. When he opened his mouth, she saw his fangs, they were small. They looked very dangerous. The thing that really got to me was how still Nathaniel became. He did not breathe, he did not move all. It was like he was a statue, a predator that was not moving, just pretending to be alive. "This is what I am," Nathaniel said, his voice was really rough. "I am a thing that is alive because of things I do not understand. I need to drink blood to survive, though I have not killed anyone to get blood in over 100 years. I cannot walk in the sunlight because it hurts me. I do not get old, I do not get sick, I do not die. This is the curse that I have to live with. It is the gift that I wanted to give to Catherine before she was taken away from me." Emma stepped closer to me, of walking away. She reached out. Touched my cold face. "You wanted to make her like you," she said. "I wanted to give Catherine the choice. I was going to tell her everything about it, to let her decide if she wanted to be with me, even if it meant she would not be human anymore. I was too scared to do it. I was waiting for the moment, and that moment never came. By the time she got sick, changing would have killed her faster than the sickness." His body changed back to how it looked, but his eyes still looked really scared. "I have thought about that mistake every day for 300 years. The dreams got worse that night after Emma went home. She was not just watching what happened in Catherine's life, she was actually living Catherine's life. She was standing in a garden when it was almost dark, putting roses in a basket. Footsteps were. She turned around to see Nathaniel. This was not the Nathaniel she knew, the one who was always so serious and sad. This Nathaniel was younger. He was still really old and a vampire. He did not look as tired and worried as the Nathaniel she knew. Catherine said something without thinking. "You should not be here," she said. "If my father finds out that you are sneaking into the garden again, he will be very angry. Might even shoot you." Nathaniel said, "Your father is down at the docks talking about tea shipments. I picked a time to come here so he would not catch me." Nathaniel pulled Catherine close to him. She felt warm all over, even though his hands were cold. He said, "I just could not stay away from you. Not when I know you are going to your cousin's farm tomorrow." She replied, "I am only going for 2 weeks." Nathaniel said, 2 weeks without seeing you is a long time." He kissed her on the forehead, then her cheeks, and finally her lips. He asked Catherine, "Will you come with me? I want to show you all the places in the world. We could go to Paris, Rome, Vienna. We could even leave tonight." Catherine said, "And what about my family? That would cause a problem for them." "I do not think so." Catherine smiled, and that made her refusal a little nicer. "Ask me properly, Nathaniel. When I come back, ask me with a ring and some people around. I will say yes to whatever you want." "Anything?" "Well, almost anything. I do not want to keep bats as pets, that is, for sure." He started laughing, it was a nice sound. "I was just joking about the bats." "Were you joking about the things? About what the vampires are?" He stopped laughing. Nathaniel pulled back a little, looking at Catherine's face. "How long have you known about this?" he asked. "Months," she said. "You are not as sneaky as you think you are." Catherine gently put her hand on Nathaniel's face. "You never eat when people are around. You stay away from mirrors and churches. You move fast and you know things that you should not know. Your eyes change color when you are feeling something strong. I have been waiting for you to trust me enough to tell me what is really going on. You are not scared of me? Nathaniel asked. I am really scared, Catherine said. I am also really interested in Nathaniel. I am totally in love with you even though everything inside me is saying I should get out of here. She kissed him hard. I want to be with you, Nathaniel Blackwood. I do not care what you are or what that means for my life, I want to be with you. Emma woke up. Tears were running down her face. What just happened felt so real, it was like I was really there, that, for a moment I was not sure if I was Emma or Catherine, if I was living now or a time ago. Her phone said she had 17 calls that she did not answer. Tyler had gotten her number somehow and he was asking her why she blocked him. He said they really needed to talk. Emma just deleted the messages from Tyler without reading them. The thing is, Tyler was a part of her past, a part of her that does not exist anymore. She spent the week going to see Nathaniel every day. Nathaniel showed her things that belonged to Catherine. He had kept these things for a long time, for centuries. There were dresses that he kept in a storage room to keep them from getting damaged. He also had jewelry that Catherine used to wear around her neck and on her wrists. Then there were some paintings of plants and flowers that Catherine had made. They were really good. Nathaniel said that she had your eye for color as they looked at a watercolor of orchids. He meant that the way you use light and pay attention to things is really special. Art is something that can be beautiful for a long time. Nathaniel said this because he noticed that the painting looked like something Emma would make. Or I just like the same things as a woman who looked like me, Emma said back to Nathaniel. Every day she felt less sure about this. She was still having these dreams. They were getting stronger. In the dreams she remembered things about Catherine's life when she was a kid. She remembered that Catherine loved horses. She also remembered that Catherine liked to take books from her father's library and read them by candlelight. She recalled the moment she fell in love with a nobleman who was really mysterious. He seemed to be living in a time. She remembered being really sick. The fever was terrible, it was like her body was on fire. She was. Nathaniel's face was above hers, looking like he was in a lot of pain because he knew he had waited too long to do something. On the day Emma went to the Blackwood estate. When she got there she found Nathaniel talking to someone. There was a woman sitting in the parlor. She was blonde and really pretty, wearing clothes that showed she had a lot of money. When this woman saw Emma, her smile changed. It looked like she was ready to attack. The woman said this with a voice. This is the reincarnation. It is dramatic and old-fashioned. Nathaniel, you have done a job with the drama. Emma, this is Genevieve Durant. She is a friend of mine, Nathaniel said. The way he said it made it sound like it was not that simple. A friend is being too kind, Genevieve said. She moved with the ease as Nathaniel. We were in love a time ago. This was 150 years ago. Then Nathaniel was not obsessed with his wife who had passed away. He was not a loner like he is now. Emma felt a surge of emotion that could have been jealousy. She asked, "Are you also a vampire?" Genevieve said, "Guilty. I was turned into a vampire in 1832 by a riverboat captain who thought he was romantic." Genevieve walked around Emma like she was checking out her meal. She said, "You look a lot like the paintings of you. I wonder if you have the same spirit as Catherine or if you are just a weak version of her, with her face." Nathaniel said, "Genevieve, to warn her." Genevieve said, "Oh, do not worry. I am not here to cause any problems. I am here to warn you." Genevieve's playful expression turned serious. "The news about your little get-together has spread like fire through our community. Some people think it is funny, others are jealous, but there is one person who's a real threat. Vincent Moreau knows about Emma." Nathaniel did not move all. "Vincent Moreau is in New Orleans?" he asked. "He got to New Orleans week. You know how Vincent Moreau feels about you, darling. He still remembers what happened in Paris, the fight you two had and the woman you both liked who chose you over him. He has held a grudge for 200 years. Now Vincent Moreau sees an opportunity for revenge. Emma looked between them. Who is Vincent Moreau? A vampire who thinks he can take what Vincent Moreau wants without caring about what happens to others, Nathaniel said in a tone. Vincent Moreau is powerful. Vincent Moreau is cruel. Vincent Moreau has wanted to destroy Nathaniel since 1824. If Vincent Moreau knows about what Emma means to Nathaniel, Vincent Moreau will use Emma against Nathaniel. Then we need to protect Emma from Vincent Moreau. Genevieve seemed to think the whole thing was pretty funny. She said, "You should get some bodyguards, protect the house and keep Emma safe inside all the time like a princess in a tower." Nathaniel went over to Emma. He said, "I am not going to lock Emma up." He said, "Emma is not a prisoner." Genevieve just shrugged her shoulders. She said, "Then Emma is in danger." Genevieve said, "The decision is yours, but do not say I did not tell you." Vincent does not give up easily. Vincent is a player. She walked out. Left a big cloud of fancy perfume behind. Now Emma was all alone with Nathaniel, in the parlor. It was really quiet all of a sudden. "I should go," Emma said. "If I stay with you I might get hurt. This guy Vincent might try to hurt me just to hurt you. So I should probably leave New Orleans." "No," Nathaniel said loudly. He grabbed her hands. "I do not want to lose you. I really do not want to lose Emma." Nathaniel wants Emma to stay with him. "I do not want you to be scared of anything, not that mean vampire who thinks he is better than everyone. I will keep you safe, Emma. I promise this in memory of Catherine. What if this is not enough to keep you safe? What if the vampire is stronger than me? Then I will give my life to protect you again." Nathaniel held her close. "You asked me a time ago what I wanted to give to Catherine. I wanted to give Catherine the gift of living, Emma. The chance to live beyond what people can, to make art and create things and love without thinking about dying all the time. I was really slow then, really scared. I do not want to make that mistake." Emma's heart was beating fast. "Are you asking me what I think you are asking? I am asking if you would think about changing. Not now, not until you are completely sure about the transformation. Someday when you have lived a long time and know what it means to be human, would you want to be with me forever?" His eyes, which were a brown color, looked like he really wanted me to say yes. "Would you want to become a vampire like me, to be mine and to keep the promise that Catherine made a long time ago, 300 years ago?" Before Emma could say anything, a window broke. The glass went flying into the room and some people, in clothes, came in really fast. They were surrounding Emma before Nathaniel could do anything to stop them. The last thing Emma saw before something struck her head was Nathaniel lunging forward, fangs bared, amber eyes blazing with fury. Then darkness claimed her, and she tumbled into dreams of Catherine's memories, of choosing love over safety, of promises made in gardens that smelled of roses and secrets.